Last we left off, you guys wrapped up your business back at the so-called tragedy house, and started to make your way over to the town of Blemix, where Levey is from. You guys encountered a couple of odd things along your way. You found a fey cherry, which had just appeared in the middle of nowhere, apparently. And you guys hung out next to the tree and had a little conversation with it for a while. And after that, in the second leg of your journey, you found just a weird patch of silence. And then you tried to investigate it a little, flew around it, but you weren't able to find a source or anything. After that, you ended up making your way to the town, which is less of a centralized city and more like a quilt of farmland. You're able to spot things such as wooden barns, small houses of stone and straw, and every now and then guard towers. You decided not to head towards the center of town, known as the Garden Plaza, instead heading towards the area where Levey's family is. So we'll pick up with you guys landing. Where do you guys decide to land? Outside of town? On someone's house?
I believe.
Are you crashing through the window?
I believe Levey was going to guide them to be like kind of off to the side, on her family, either on or next to her family's land.
Okay.
Do we want to risk being seen though? On coming, because if we don't want to stir trouble, flying in on giant eagles might cause concern.
No. Like her family's land is pretty, like, it's rural, so it's all spread out. So it's not like they're landing like right next to town.
Or even in sight of Levey's family is what I'm talking about. If Levey's
family complete civilians, and once we knock on the door, like, they'll know who the fuck we are.
Okay, I was just thinking of not causing any unnecessary paranoia and stuff.
I mean, if she's deciding that it's safe to go land,
then it's fine.
To home, yeah. She's just going like, don't alarm the town, but land close enough that we don't have to hike like 3 miles.
All right. Levey, would you care to describe what your house looks like, your home, from the outside?
I mean, it's just a little farmhouse. Like, she lived on a farm. It's pretty fucking normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nothing too spectacular. The walls of the house itself are made of stone, and there are wooden tiles making up the roof. To the side of the house, there is a fenced-in chicken coop, and actually, roll a perception check, whoever would like to.
is a 12 for Eagle Demir.
Do you turn back, or are you?
Well, are you like?
Your sound quality is a little funky.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's up with that. I can't. My headphones are the only ones I can find right now. One second, I'll just try to figure that out. Sorry.
Lish got a 21.
21.
Conversely,
Can you hear
Levey
me?
got 12.
12. Okay. That's enough.
8. And I mask up.
Okay. So Valk, you're more looking around at the land. It seems like typical farm. They seem to be more focused on the growing of plants rather than animals. Levey and Lish, you see a man over by the chicken coop. He is unfamiliar. He is maybe about 28 years old. And he's got like tan skin, olive complexion, and dark hair. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
Oh,
because he rolled shit. Didn't and missed the giant fucking eagles.
Well, that's not gonna last long because Levey's gonna go ahead and kind of give the who the fuck look, and then just flag him down, wave and yell, "Hi, hello, excuse me."
He looks up and Liz, you can tell from his posture that he seems to have just finished feeding the chickens. Sorry, my son is doing stupid things. Hey. He looks up and he's wearing typical peasant clothing, for lack of a better description. Tough, hardy clothes that won't tear easily. And he says, hi there, you folks lost?
No, pardon, but, I'm looking for some folk. Last name should be Beck.
Oh, yeah. You looking for Grace or for her parents? This is their place.
Oh, just all of them.
Sorry, what did you say your name was?
My name's Levey. It's nice to meet you. I'm a old acquaintance.
Well, when you say your name, he recognizes it and he looks surprised and he says,
Actually, how the fuck? Because her family didn't know her by that name.
Grace did. You said the only ones that know her as Levey are Grace and Poet.
Okay.
And he he says, great Grace has told me so much about you. I thought that you were her older sister, not her younger sister.
Well, there's been some extenuating circumstances.
Well, Great Grace is my wife, actually.
Called it.
How lovely.
She's probably just inside with the baby. Hold on a moment.
She is sheet white right now. She's like, what the fuck?
And he starts to make his way closer towards the door of the house, but kind of looks at the rest of the group questioningly. Are they with you?
Yes, these are my friends.
All right.
We do a lot of traveling together.
Well, and he seems kind of taken aback by such a interesting variety of folks in this mostly human town.
Don't worry about it, bud. Don't fucking worry about it.
But he kind of motions you guys to follow, and the house itself, Levey, looks largely unchanged. I mean, if anything, it looks a little bit older than you remember it, but not by too much. Like there's some moss growing on the roof that you don't recall having been there before. There's maybe a chip in a couple of stones on the wall, but nothing too major. And the man lets himself into the house and motions for you all to follow. Do you do so?
Yeah.
All right. You follow Russell into the house, and it more or less looks like most of the houses in Skyrim on the inside, honestly. There's a little fireplace and a few counters for cooking and preparing food. There's a table in one corner, and then there's stairs that lead downward into a basement where most of the rooms are. This was built in a way to be able to sustain natural disasters such as tornadoes. Interestingly enough, there is a cradle here in this room near the table. No one's visible right now, but the man walks in and starts calling out, Grace, you'll never believe who's here to visit.
He's kind of got that like plank stance of just like I am so fucking nervous right now.
Tobias stands beside her and kind of subtly nudges his hand against hers, basically just offering it as support if she wants it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a vice grip on his fingers. F to his circulation.
Valk's very much like posted up against a wall, like out of the way, but just paying attention to what's going on.
Aaron's leaning right up next to Valk, and he's got his eyes as dim as he can make them.
Okay.
Demir is. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Or is it still fucky?
You're good.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Demir is going to stand next to Lish, but kind of like put herself where she is besides like right behind Levey, but also like next to Lish. So she's kind of on the daisy chain. She's the other side. If Toby is over here, she's on that side.
All right. Lish and Hawk.
Lish is actively burning the farmhouse down.
Okay. With a baby inside?
It's to disguise the stealing of the baby.
This counts as trouble.
Replacing it with a changeling.
He's just hanging out. I don't think he's doing much.
I was going to say about the same for Hawk. He's never been over here and he wants to be a good guest, so he's probably just like looking around going like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah, there's
Oh, that's an interesting heirloom. Oh, is that antique?
not too
Something
much
like
to
that.
look at. There's various knickknacks on the mantle of the fireplace. There's a few like dried herbs on the wall near the kitchen area. But yeah, and from up the stairs, a human woman arrives, and the family resemblance is obvious to Levey. She has the same sort of facial structure, and she has the same hair color, maybe a shade or two darker, same skin color, same freckles, and she is about 29 years old. And she is holding in her arms a baby wrapped in a white cloth, and she sees you, Levey, and she just says, "Oh my goodness," and rushes over to give you a hug, still being careful of the baby in her arms, but she throws her free arm around you and just hugs. Just hugs you tightly.
Got her fucking free arm around her and is like maybe crushing her a little bit, but still like she's trying to be careful of the babu.
Yeah.
But she's got that fucking arm locked around her sister, and she's just like, "You're all grown up."
She kind of pulls back a little and looks at you and says, "You look the same. How did this happen?" And she kind of looks around at the rest of you like, I'm sorry. I'm being terribly rude. My name's Gwendolyn Grace."
Losing my mind. I'm gonna fucking go insane right now. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna start crying. Give me a minute.
But yeah, she introduces herself to you guys, but her attention seems to be almost completely on Levey.
Just there's a lot to explain. Just don't worry about how right now. I'm home.
I miss you so much. It's so good to see you.
I missed you too. I'm sorry that I missed so much time. Who's this? Who's this? And she kind of gestures to the baby and the man.
The baby is looking at you with like big green eyes. Maybe a couple months old. And she says, "Oh, this is my daughter. I actually named her after you. Her name is Quinny. Well, Quinn, but I call her Quinny. I've just missed you so much."
And she's like full on crying right now.
And this is my husband, Russell Ernest.
It's so good to meet you. And this is and she's gonna gesture to Toby, and then on one side, and then Demir on the other, and kind of implying everybody beyond them, and going, this is the group I've been with all this time. But we're called the Wild Roses. We've been traveling and doing all sorts of things, and they've been very kind.
Well, it's a pleasure to welcome you to my home.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I know we're a big group. If you don't have space for us, we can always find a spot in town or something.
We can make it work. Your family. Any friends of Levey's is a friend of mine.
Where's Ma and Da?
Well, Da, I'm afraid isn't around anymore, but Ma is downstairs if you wanted to see her.
Yeah. Please.
All right. Hold on. I'll see if I can go get her for you.
If she's got trouble moving or anything, because of age.
I mean, she's just old. She can move around, but she doesn't like to. She mostly likes spending her time working with this one. She kind of gestures to the baby a little bit. Would you like to hold her?
I'd be honored. Takes the baby, like has to let go of Toby's hand for this, but she's just like holding baby.
Yeah. And Quinn is just kind of like looking around, looking up at you. She doesn't seem bothered by the presence of all these weird people, but more interested. And Grace starts to make her way towards the stairs again when her husband Russell says, "I'll tell you what. Why don't you let me get Ma and you can spend some time with your sister in her friends." And she said, "Oh, you're so sweet," and just kisses his cheek. And Russell heads downstairs.
He seems good.
He's just the kindest man. He's so sweet.
I'm real relieved to hear that.
So tell me what you've been up to all this time. It's been so long.
It's been a lot less time on my end, I'm afraid.
Well, I was gonna say it looks like you aged well.
That's because I haven't aged much. I'm sorry. I missed so much.
Well, I mean, things have been tricky for you, and for my part, I did my best to try to bring Ma and Da around to you, kind of gestures. I don't think that they really understand, but I mean,
I don't really expect them to.
after years. I mean, they're trying. I'm trying, but Aunt Sienna and Uncle Marley, they don't really talk to us too much anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do need to ask. Still off on this mission. Have heard anything about Poet? Seen any hide or hair of him anywhere?
At that point, Grace kind of frowns a little and says, you still haven't found him?
No, like I said, it's just been months for me, sweetheart. Things are kind of going a bit wrong at large.
In what way?
You know how I studied lots of magic with Poet as a kid? It's a lot of magic stuff kind of going wrong out there.
Well, you make sure you're being careful.
We're trying real hard.
Wayne wants to get to know her aunt.
And I would love to know the little one. Of course, but it's out of my control. I'm sorry. We're trying to figure things out and fix stuff fast as we can. I didn't want to miss this much. I didn't want to be away this long on your end.
Well, you're here now. That's what matters. I'm sure I can't stop you from trying to find our cousin, but once he's safe, you two come back here.
I might have to go off and try to keep fixing things, but I'll definitely try and bring Poet home.
Well, it's been a while, but from what I remember, he might not want to stay in one place for too long, especially if you're not there.
Yes, terribly flighty, the both of us. It would seem. But I'm just glad that you're doing well here. And then she's gonna kind of turn to the roses and go, I'm being rude. I should really introduce everybody. Maybe wait for Mom come up.
At this point, the baby starts fussing a little bit. Grace says, "Oh, here, let me take her." Starts kind of rocking her a little bit. And it's around this time that Russell returns with another human woman, older. Her hair is white and it's a little bit curly. And she seems to be keeping it tied back under a bandana. She's got calloused hands, that the kind that you'd expect for someone who works on a farm, who's worked on a farm for most of her life. And she kind of blinks around at, once again, this very strange group of people before her eyes land on Levey. And she looks surprised and says, "Finley, is that you?"
In a fashion, Ma, in a fashion.
You've been gone for so long.
It hasn't been that long for me.
And
quite literally, I should add.
And Grace kind of sighs and says, Ma, I told you, she likes to be called Levey now. She just kind of ignores her and like walks up to you and just like looking you over and went, well, what brings you home?
Still looking for Poet, and she can't seem to quite look her mom in the eye. She's kind of looking off into the side, and definitely the shoulders are kind of up to her ears.
Levey's mom is shorter than her, but she does have something of an intimidating presence.
Yep. Kind of going. And well, regarding the whole lots of time here hasn't been a lot of time away from here. Some stuff's happening out there, and I wanted to come back and check on everybody and really just see what I can find in terms of maybe where Poet ran and got off to, and I'm just sorry I was gone for so long, Ma.
I'm sorry you've been gone for so long too. I mean, I've missed you, but it seems like you've gotten some interesting folks here with you.
They've been good, Ma. They're very good people, lovely people, really.
Kind of looks towards the rest of you. She looks very uncertain, like you get an impression from her posture like, I'm not sure all of these weird people should be around this baby. But she says, pleasure to meet you. My name's Olwen.
And she's gonna go down the line and kind of go, this is Tobias, and she's gonna kind of very pointedly like kind of go to hold his hand again, kind of for support for her, but also to kind of be like, this is Tobias. It's like,
you're a very tall young man.
Tobias, when Levey goes to hold his hand, he takes hers, kind of comforted or reassuringly runs a thumb over her knuckles, and he appears calm, just mellow as he looks to Olwen and to Grace and Russell as well, and kind of gives them a short bow and says, it's a pleasure meeting all of you. And then when Olwen says, you're a very tall fellow, he's like, I get that a lot.
You taking good care of Finley Quinn here?
I do my best to help Levey wherever I can, although I'd say Levey has done a wonderful job helping all of us in our party.
She kind of like nods.
She's a wonderful
satisfied.
And then, of course, Demir and Blish and Erin and Hawk and Valkyria. She kind of goes down the whole list.
Demir just gives her the most dazzling smile, like, it's a pleasure to meet you. We have heard oh so much about you.
That accent's kind of unusual. Where are you from?
Here and there, around, many places.
she has clearly drawn a conclusion about that.
We've been traveling a lot, Ma.
Sounds like you all have been homeless. Why didn't you just come back if you didn't have a place?
Oh no, we have a home.
We do have a home. We acquired a home, and like I said, we've been traveling. Not homeless. We've been busy. It's a choice.
You got a good job then.
It pays.
All right.
If it helps explain anything, part of our jobs as adventurers is assisting others. So we tend to go here and there, helping people with what they need. Like, for example, retrieving a important book for someone, or helping track people down because they've been missing. That sorts of things.
When you mentioned that you've been adventurers, Grace's eyes just light up, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't say that's what you'd been doing? Have you fought a dragon or anything?"
Oh, not a dragon. More like oh, you're never gonna believe that. Just this great big ice worm.
An ice worm. Here in the valley?
Oh no. We've been all over. It was actually we were headed to where Erin here is from, and we ran into the worm on our way. It was up in the tundra, actually.
In the tundra? Don't tell me that you went up into the unclaimed lands. It's dangerous there.
Oh, I mean, it was, but it wasn't nothing we couldn't handle. We're a capable group. Sorry, Erin. Go ahead.
No. It's fine up there. I survived my whole childhood.
And she's looking at you and like the scars on your face, and she like gets she is visibly worried.
Ma, look, I'm here in one piece. I'm fine. I'm alive. All of us are alive. We help each other out a lot. We protect each other and things. It's not a big deal. Safety in numbers, right?
Owen speaks up again and says, well, I suppose if you're doing dangerous stuff like going up north, it's better to have more people with you.
Levey introduces Hawk. He bows much like Toby did, but doesn't really say much.
I suppose if you're adventurers, that's why y'all are so heavily armed. Might draw some eyes in town, carrying so many weapons around.
It's
we can
hazard.
Aaron shakes his Emily's axe and says, "Oh well, this one's mostly just from my ma. It's one of the things I have from her to remember her by."
I don't imagine you chop wood with that thing, young man.
I must admit I am not very good at chopping wood.
Well, maybe for the best that you're not in a town like this one. We need everyone to be able to do a bit of manual labor like that. And Grace speaks up again and says, "Ma, be polite. We guests."
we're our skills are better directed elsewhere anyways, Ma. We've been self-sufficient in other ways. Don't you worry.
Well, if you're looking for Poet, he ain't here. We ain't seen him since before you left and dead of night, I might add.
Right.
Grace says, to be honest, Aunt and Uncle Feld hadn't really been too worried about him either.
Of course they haven't. Sorry, that was unkind.
Well, I'm not sure that we here can be much help.
Right.
But you're welcome to stay here if you want. Otherwise, of course, there's the White Owl Inn over by the garden. The gardens plaza. So but we're glad to have you. I'm always happy to show off Quinny here.
Yeah, I think we'll need to run around town a little bit. But I really just wanted to come say hello and check in. Probably be back later. Not sure. Try and say goodbye before we skip town again.
I'd appreciate that. I miss you very much, and as I said, I want my daughter to get to know her aunt.
Right. Thank you, Grace. And then she's gonna kind of nudge Toby and kind of turn towards the front door again. We better get going. We got things we gotta do.
And your mom speaks up again at this point. Try not to be a stranger.
Yeah, Mom. She just kind of leads the way up the door.
Grace kind of catches your arm before you leave. Just give you another quick hug.
Big hug back. She'll hug her sister back and just kind of have to go now. That was a lot. We have to go.
All right. So you lead the way back outside. The family in the house does not follow. And you guys find yourselves outside again, alone.
What was it? Whenabouts is it, by the way? Like, what kind of day? What time of day? Sorry.
It's I'd probably say around 3 p.m, thereabouts.
Okay.
When we get like a little bit of ways from the house, Val kind of has like this look on her face and goes, I understand I'm new to the group and so wouldn't be informed of certain things like the Quinn situation, but I think the fact that time is fucked is pertinent information for me to know.
Right. discovered most of that while you were away.
To be quite honest, Volk, I thought we told you. I could have sworn.
Is there anything else that I should know?
Well,
Stuff's also weird with the Fae.
What about the Fae?
Lish is gonna cut Aaron kind of a look.
Our initial hypothesis is that there is some breaking apart of the planes. Time has been very weird for us.
And other people, might I add.
Not to mention that pocket of silence we ran into on our way here and all that. That portal in our backyard we have to have closed.
The elements of air that we ran into on the way down.
Stuff like that's kind of just becoming more common of an occurrence.
Well, guess it's a good thing that I'm teaming up with you guys. Maybe dealing with this breakdown in reality is why the way I am, why my father did everything. Of course, he don't tell me shit. And you could hear the silence after that statement as she kind of looks around you guys.
Lish just raises an eyebrow.
at least with us, it's not intentional and more so just...
Honestly, we started getting so used to things being kind of fucked up that we just thought you knew. Thought we told you. Sorry. So sorry, Volk.
I appreciate the apology.
We'll try to keep you apprised of anything else that pops up to the best of our ability from now on. It seems only fair.
Thank you. Now, Levey, you had a suggestion of where we would go next?
I mean, the glade's just this way. I wanted to check that. See if there's anything going on there.
Before that, are you alright, Levey? I could feel the tension in the room.
For now, we're gonna go on the assumption that I am just fine.
Fair enough.
For now. If I'm going to fall apart, I'd rather not be home.
Alright. Glade?
Glade. Let's go.
All right. So you start making your way towards the summer glade. You pass by a few other farmhouses, including the farmhouse of, let me just double check their names, the Gilroys, your neighbors. Continue along the path, and for the rest of you, you notice the farmlands starts to become more spread out. Yeah, the farmland becomes more spread out, and there start to be more flowers growing. And eventually you seem to be in a field of flowers. There's lots of wildflowers and long grass, and the path starts to wind a bit more, leading to a petite grove in the middle of this field of flowers. The path becomes it's a more subtle path. It's more of like a deer trail, akin to a deer trail, I should say. So you do have to push your way through the flowers and grass a bit more, and eventually the trees. And eventually you break into a small clearing with willow trees and vines and stones surrounding a crystal clear pool. It's very beautiful. And Levey, you know that it's even more beautiful at night. I actually have a visual for this. Boop.
Ooh.
MC. Levey's gonna kind of go right up to the pool and kind of start poking around, see if anything feels off or different or fucked up or
All right. Roll investigation check or arcana check, your choice.
Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna be a fucking arcana check. Let's go.
I think we lost Mackenzie.
Yeah, internet went out.
Internet's been out.
That's gonna be a total of 27.
27
for an arcana check.
So you reach into the pool and the water is cool and fresh, and you can sense the magic about it, but it seems largely unchanged as when you recall. In fact, the greenery around it doesn't even seem to have grown.
Just the same as basically she last saw it.
It's the same as when you last saw it.
Nothing's changed here at all. Not for the months that I've been with you guys or the years that it's been in town.
Maybe there's another. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you think that that's part of the general time fuckery that's happened here, or if the glade itself is just magic in such a way that it doesn't change.
I don't know, DM, what does that 27 arcana check tell me?
You recall from your childhood that things grow and change with it. It just hasn't changed since you left.
Yeah, no, I grew up here and visited this spot quite a bit, but it's definitely supposed to change and grow like anything else, but it hasn't. So I'm thinking it's affected.
That's sort of what I'm thinking. We know from the unclaimed lands that these disturbances can happen almost in pockets. Since time only seemed to go forward for us when we were in that crypt. So maybe there's a larger time pocket around the town that's caused it to advance so quickly compared to you. And there's another one around this glade that's caused it to barely change at all. That's wild guesswork, of course, but if things should have changed here, then it only makes sense.
Lish would like to, if Levey lets him kind of go in a little bit farther and kind of walk around and cast Detect Magic.
I mean, it's
In
not
the water?
hers.
In the water or
Just
around?
Around and in the water. I mean, it's 30 feet. So.
Okay. Well, I was asking if you were like, I'm gonna go swimming in this.
I mean, how big is it around?
It's about 25 feet across, but it's deep.
Yeah. I mean, with 30 feet of depth, do I get a sense of anything in the water? It doesn't. Does it touch the bottom, as it were? I mean,
it does not. But you sense some conjuration magic and abjuration. Just permeating the area.
Is it seems sourceless, or where would the source be? The water, or?
It seems sourceless. It's
Do I
just
sense
that this area in itself is inherently magical.
Do I sense any like specific blips?
No, nothing in particular. I mean, it's stronger over by the pool, but it doesn't seem to have a source or anything.
Well, he'll walk around the stones of the pool and just continue to. He'll just blip around.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
Probably while they were walking, and once we kind of get to the glade, Demir was like picking wildflowers every so often, and giving them to the pixies. She has like
the pixies take them and immediately start putting them in party members' hair.
Yep, she is letting that chaos happen.
I feel like they pick out the best ones though first to make themselves little upside down hats, and then they take the extra and bother people.
Definitely.
She's back.
Oh, Mackenzie's back.
Fuck, it worked.
Hell yeah.
3!
I didn't know if it was gonna actually work, but it did.
Right.
Although, just as a heads up for myself, I might.
Oh.
Breaking up.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Hello.
I might be on thin ice with my connection wise. I'll probably get thrown out again eventually.
It's okay. But right now you guys are at the summer glade. There seems to be magic in the air and close to the water. It seems to have been untouched by time. Everyone's sort of walking around and exploring it a little bit. The pixies are putting things in people's hair.
How are we able to tell that it hasn't been touched by time?
It looks unchanged from the last time that Levey saw it, whereas throughout her childhood, she was able to witness things growing and changing within the glade.
Also, funnily enough, just to catch you up some more, Levey was asked if she was okay, and she said to operate under the assumption that she was fine. So do with that information what you will.
Okay.
What are you guys doing?
Honestly, Levey's kind of eyeballing the pool and starting to like rake her hair back. Like she might go and dunk her fucking head in.
No.
What? She knows the place. She grew up here. This is her spot.
I think Biog's got to go down the well.
Has Crunchy been a problem yet?
Oh no!
Yeah.
The well.
Is Crunchy trying to go down the well?
He's not trying to go down the well, but he did steal a couple of things from Levey's house.
Okay, I have a high perception. Would I not have seen him do that shit?
I mean, he's just taking like some of the dried herbs and putting them in his mouth.
Okay, I would specify that Lish would keep an eye on that sort of behavior. Hospitality is very important to him.
I also imagine that Val probably kept Crunchy or Sniv close to her, and if she was backed up against a wall, how would it have reached anything?
Not like he was pressed between the wall and Valk.
Also,
But he was on a leash, so he had a radius of chaos.
He's
Yeah,
got a
it's a small
stick
house.
that he can kind of grab stuff closer to him, I assume.
let the growing baby boy in our hearts,
If-
at least.
If he
eat
wants to
his
perform
fucking
the cinnamon
greens.
challenge, let him do it.
Yeah, but I don't want Levey's family to think we're fucking stealing from them.
Just a random, like it's a kobold on a leash. Probably took one look at that and went, okay.
Ain't asking questions about that.
So this is a mostly human town. A 7-foot tall dude, a masked stranger, a lady who is in like lots of armor, a lady with a strange accent, an elf with flowers in his hair, some of them which are looking at her baby, and a dude with glowing eyes, all crammed into their house with a kobold on a leash.
Adventuring parties are a menace to society. I don't know what to tell you.
I made it
We
very
make good
clear that they
impression.
were giving you all very weird looks.
We are a clusterfuck and a half. And it was acknowledged.
I would say we're fairly tame by, D&D party standards.
Oh, absolutely. But we're still going to draw attention just from the variety.
Yeah.
Definitely head and shoulders weirder than normal.
We're mostly recognizable species.
I'm faking it.
Yeah, several of us pass for human, maybe.
There were flowers looking at her baby.
Oh, we aren't saying Lish is fine.
I imagine they probably noticed Sniv and all of his Crunch Trap supremeness and went, yeah, all right.
So the ultimate question.
It's a group of that. Okay.
So the ultimate question here is: are we waterboarding the kobold?
Levey's literally about to fucking dunk herself in their face first. Just face in the pool.
Well, yeah, actually, since Demir also experienced the face pool portal stuff,
It's not like it's a mysterious portal. It's a fucking place that Levey frequented as a child. She's probably been swimming in that shit before.
Does the pool, looking into it, is it does it look like the water that Demir had seen either on this side of the portal or on the other side of the Shadowfell.
Not at all.
Okay.
It's crystal clear water. You can see the like rocky sides of the pool. You can see into it pretty easily.
We could just put Levey on the Crunchwrap Supreme leash and pull her out if something goes bad. We have Revivifies.
Let's not test that if we can help it. We have minions we can send down.
Levy really just wants to see it for herself. Like, she'll let somebody hold her fucking ankles so she doesn't just fall in, but she's gonna fucking want to take a look for herself.
Demir will hold her ankles. Levy did the same for her before.
Oh my god, you guys.
What?
It's water, Lish. What's the worst that can happen?
Mysterious, dark, inky portal in a graveyard. It's a place where Levy grew up.
Lish will familiar Bright Mellow and send Bright Mellow down if Hawk doesn't want to send Biog. Either Bright Mellow goes down or Lish will polymorph into some fish something and go down. I have giant octopus.
Levy's still going to fucking dunk her head in and check shit out.
Maybe so, but I think that we should check it out before people start dunking heads.
Okay.
It's just a pool of water.
It's a deep pool of water.
I know this place. Come on now. Spent plenty of time here. Spent plenty of time in this.
Yes, well, the last portal, or funky thing to put your head in, had giant monsters on the other side.
I was fine.
The other guy we sent in was not.
I wasn't gonna go all the way in anyways. Come on now.
To be fair, it doesn't look exactly like the portal in the graveyard. We couldn't see the bottom of that.
This is far
Exactly.
better.
And besides, the closest I've ever been to any real danger in here is from my aunt. So you know what? And she's just gonna go. She's just gonna dunk her fucking head in, make a joke about her own. Like the time she was almost murdered by her family and dunk her fucking head in.
I almost drowned here. Sploosh.
I was almost acting like murdered here. Yeet.
Aaron's just been wandering around, like checking out the plants, making sure there's not anything weird with them. And like when he just hears a fucking sploosh behind him, he just whips his head around like, what the fuck is happening?
Levy's gonna open her eyes underwater and fucking look around.
All right.
Yeah,
roll
Lish
a
has got his
perception check.
hand on your fucking coat. He was
Never
about
said
to
she was
just
holding
rip you
Levy's
back up,
legs.
but thought better of it.
Nat 20 perception plus. Do I get a plus for any of that shit? Nope. Just the nat 20.
All right. So you peek your head in, and the water is cool and refreshing. There isn't, despite the visual I found, there aren't any fish in there or anything. There aren't even any plants. There's this the closest plants are the lily pads floating along the top. You dunk your head in and your hair starts flowing freely, and it's cold and it's like fresh mountain air, crisp. And you look down deep into it, and you see the stone sides of the pool slowly turn into crystals and geodes the deeper it goes in. Sort of similar to that Crystal Cave in Mexico, if you know that one, but nowhere near the scale. It's beautiful, and I'd like you to make an Arcana check.
Just gotta say, very sexy of this intelligence circlet to give me a +8 to Arcana checks. 22.
You have your head under the water, and you are seized with the urge to breathe in. And when you do so, you find that, as in direct opposition to your experience with this before, you actually can breathe. And you close your eyes, and you breathe in the water, and you catch a sudden glimpse of in the mountains surrounding it, a similar forgotten glade, a forgotten grove, in which there is a tree growing with strange, brightly colored fruit dangling from its branches.
She's gonna put she will be holding on to like a rock on the outside of the pool. She will take one hand and reach in and past her own face and see if she can touch things, if they are, corporeal, solid.
You reach forward and you're not able to touch it.
So it's just a vision?
It's just a vision.
She's gonna come back up. Totally breathing. Totally fine. And go, I think I know where we need to head after this. And she's gonna turn around to Lish, with, who was anchoring her by her coat, and go, you knew one or two things about this place. Lish! Preoccupied.
Was talking to Anne, I assume.
Yeah.
Lish, hello. Hello, Lish.
Lish.
Lish. My man, come back.
We need our nature one.
We need our Fey dude.
I think she's paying attention, guys.
It's something going on. I just was saying goodbye to Rachel. She left for work.
Okay, cool. I hope she has a good day at work.
Can I fucking help you, or like?
Yes. Levey's out of the fucking pool, and she's gonna turn around, and she said she thinks she knows where we gotta go next, and she said, "You know one or two things about this here glade. You knew one or two things about this here glade.
Yeah.
I was told by the fortune teller back at the festival that there was another place like this. It's just like really different and off in some fucking mountains. Would you know about that? Anything?"
I don't remember. Would Lish know anything about that?
You would not know.
I had remembered a shit ton about this glade back when Levey was talking about it. Would it have any connection to this glade? I rolled like a natty 20 or something crazy back then.
I think she said that like her fucking Kalashtar shit came from here. Like that's
where the Kalashtar stuff too.
Yeah. Roll an Arcana check. Okay. $14. Okay. You know that there are various places within the world that under ordinary circumstances have somewhat of a connection to extraplanar spaces, which would make sense as to why Levey is a Kalashtar, with her connection to this glade. You're pretty sure that if she saw a vision of a forgotten grove of some sort while she's in the water, they're probably connected in some way, but you would not know where to look. You do know that there are the two different mountain ranges within this continent. So you would think that it would be one or the other.
Can you describe the mountains? Can I try and figure out what mountain?
There's the Storm Peak Mountains, which are to the west, which are they have I'll tell you what, roll a history check. Also, I feel it important for you guys to know that my cat is doing that thing where he's sleeping, where he's covering his eyes.
6.
Okay. There's mountains to to the west. They're called the Storm Peak Mountains. You're not sure why. There's also the Devaya Mountains, also known as the Border Peaks, which separate Levey from Island. And Blemix is smack dab in the middle of them both.
Well, it's not the most helpful. What I'm trying to figure out would be where this glade that Levey is seeing is located. Ask Levey if Levey saw any mountain ranges or any distinctive.
She just saw mountains.
Yeah, I'll ask her to try and describe them a little bit. Even if Lish doesn't know those mountains, maybe somebody else does.
Like someone native to this plane.
What you saw, Levey, your vision was sort of flying, and it was more of just like a flash passing by the mountains and before narrowing in upon this forgotten grove.
Would she have known the direction that it was flying from the glade pool, or like what?
Not really. It was more of a flavor text.
Okay.
But it appeared to be on this plane.
This plane, this continent, even.
Was there anything else distinctive aside from just the tree?
Well, I mean, it is a forgotten glade. So it would be probably be in the mountain range a bit less traveled.
there were no ruins nearby or writings of any kind or...
Nope.
I didn't see any of that. I could try again. Turns around and dunk her fucking head in the pond again.
Okay.
Just to see if it'll happen again. If she can get around to more information.
No. Poet letter did name 2 names though.
Yep. She'll come back up from the pond.
I was when Levey comes up for the second time, Demir just kind of, we do have someone who might know more.
Yeah, there's the lady in town that poet talked to, and then of course there's there's the hag, and I know we maybe don't want to go consult the hag, but we might have to consult the hag.
No, I would like to talk to Asdama.
Lish wants to consult the hag?
I don't want to go track down Baba Yaga. Asdama's a different story.
Okay.
Maybe we should start with the woman in town, though.
I mean, she would at least know where to find hag, probably. If she's alive. I'm actually a little... No, I'm gonna think about that later. We should go see if she's around.
There's a perfect bathtub here for anyone's bath therapy.
Who knows, Lee, you might need some after we're done with this arc.
I mean, it has been a while since she's been to the glade. She might want to fucking spend a minute. She kind of missed it. Her little glade.
I have a map for the glade at the evening if you want to stay there.
Nah. No dilly-dallying about let's do shit. Onward to town. Sorry about belching into my fucking microphone.
Lish is keeping an eye out for big trees around this area.
Yeah, there's like several willow trees here by the glade.
This is very beautiful.
Actually, we recall that there are lots of fireflies in the evening, and the pool always beautifully reflects the moon. In the evenings. It's a lovely spot.
As we're taking off to go find Narissa, I found her fucking name. Would Levey just know whereabouts she lived, or would she? Do we have to go ask her?
You would know whereabouts she lives, because you were told to avoid her. You and Grace both. She's sort of like the town weirdo.
We love the town outcasts.
She's like the Boo Radley of town.
Narissa was mentioned in the letter, or
yes.
not?
Yeah, she was.
Dope.
So Levey's gonna go in that direction then, and directly defy her parents.
All right.
So proud.
So you start making your way to Narissa's home. Hold on, I have to pull up a description of it. I had a description prepared in case someone scried on her. A nice little list. Okay. So as I had mentioned in the previous session, the paths of Blemix are somewhat akin to like a spider web shape. They go towards the center, towards the garden plaza, and then they're connected by smaller paths in between, in kind of neatly separating out the farmland by plot. And you start to make your way towards Narissa's home. It's closer to the garden plaza, and there are lots more flowers growing around. It's clear that she does not make much of an effort to keep the space around her home neat and tidy, instead allowing things to just grow. You approach the house and you can actually see her standing at her front door, unlocking it with a brass key. She is a fair-skinned human woman with long black hair going down to her waist. She's wearing simple clothing like a loose white top, an old leather underbust corset, and a layered gray skirt. And she is carrying a woven basket full of groceries. And her house itself is smaller than that of Levey's childhood home. And it's more of like a small cottage made of stone with a roof of straw. And you can see her from the distance, unlocking her front door.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Sorry to bother.
She pauses and looks around, and you notice that she has heterochromia. So her left eye is green and her right eye is brown. Yes?
Hi, you probably don't know who I am.
Folks
but,
look interesting, not like the usual types that come into town. And her voice is weird. It kind of wavers in a way.
Can I insight check, see if she recognizes me?
Roll an insight check.
And can I get a divine sense, please?
Sure. Roll. Yeah, you don't have to roll for that, I don't think. Can you read me the description of divine sense?
60-foot range, and I get a pop if celestial, fiend, or undead, or if there's any outstanding good or evil in the area.
Okay. You get nothing.
Good.
21.
21. There's no recognition.
Interesting. Lish will just stay back in the watch.
But you, do you remember helping a young man, a brick red tiefling, long, fluffy black hair? Name was Poet.
Yes, I remember him.
I'm his cousin. I've been looking for him. He left me this letter, and he said that you helped him find this lady named Aselma, and I'm really trying to find him.
Why don't you come in? She unlocks the door and opens it and kind of steps aside to gesture to the door, to open door.
Insight check.
Roll an insight check.
Yeah, Levey was gonna turn around to look back at the party like
17.
What are you trying to glean?
Is she gonna try and eat us?
No.
Or kill us, or trap us, or hurt us in any way, shape, or form?
No, she doesn't seem interested in hurting you.
Okay.
just a lady.
Aaron's
Oh.
marching right in. He was invited somewhere. He's going there.
All right.
Falk nods at Levey like, yeah, it's fine.
So Aaron, you walk in, and while the cottage may look kind of average from the outside, inside it seems rather odd. The cottage is one room, and while it has the sorts of things that you might expect, such as a bed and a fireplace with a cooking pot over it, there's also plenty of odd things around. In addition to various herbs hanging from the ceiling, there are various trinkets made from animal bones tied together to make various symbols and dream catchers. The clutter around the room is also unusual in that it doesn't seem like the types of things that one might ordinarily be able to find in a farming community, such as a teacup made from a mushroom cap, green leprechaun boots tied together by the laces, and a smoking pipe that seems to be made from a tree root. There's a box close to the fireplace labeled baby teeth, and a jar half full of snow that doesn't seem to have melted yet.
Question.
Mhm.
Is the root pipe better than my root pipe?
Priorities.
Investigation check.
Lish just uses
As
plant growth to make his pipe a little longer.
As he is looking around, Aaron just goes, "Oh, you have a lovely home."
13.
It seems pretty nice. Well made.
Is it better than
I don't know. How do you define better?
know it if you see it.
It's a little better. Erin, in response to you, she kind of just smiles and tilts her head to the side and says, "Thank you. I decorated it myself."
Demira's going to go in with the rest of the party, but when she sees the little jar of snow, she does kind of look over at it and kind of tilt her head, and like she's not going to go as far as to pick it up, but she's definitely looking it.
Side note, Valk at this point in time is just literally carrying Crunchwrap like a handbag.
Good
At seeing everything in the house. Just nope.
Lunchboxing him.
Picked up under the arm.
Demir, Narissa, noticing you look at the snow, kind of smiles and says, that's a gift from my mother.
Oh. It doesn't seem to melt. What is it, aside from snow?
It's very special snow.
Who's your mother?
Her name is Adelwis.
Beautiful name.
Unless you do recognize that name.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah.
And he'll actually, after looking at the pipe and kind of ghosting his fingers over some of these little trinkets that he's seeing, he'll kind of look at her and say, "And how is your mother?"
I haven't seen her for a while.
And how long
But
is it?
I'm sure she's safe. Oh, I'd say about 5 years.
Not so long then.
Would your little friends and your hair care for some cream? I just traded some from flowers at the market.
Oh.
She places her grocery basket down and unloads some, pulls out some cream and pours it into a dish, places it on the counter. Do you mind if I be a little more comfortable in my own home?
Please.
And with that, her disguise drops, revealing that she has light blue skin and a crown of thorns and holly on her head that, upon closer inspection, actually seems to be growing from her head. But her slender frame and eyes have seemed to remain unchanged by the magic. Yeah, that's a bit more comfortable. You were saying you were looking for the little tiefling.
Yeah, you see, he's very important to me.
Well, I would be glad to trade some information, but I would wish to see what you have to offer in return.
Maybe we'll open up her notebook and kind of start flipping through pages of her pressed flowers and that sort of thing.
This woman is. Do I recognize her as like a dryad? She's like Fae, clearly.
She is not a dryad. Just make a general intelligence check.
Oh boy. Okay, hold on. Demir is so smart. That's an 11.
You have heard of these creatures, but you have not ever seen one in person. Arissa is what you call a hexblood, which are usually the children of hags.
When Demir is going to like kind of scoot over to Lish and kind of like look at him and look at her and look at him again, like you recognized her mom. Like, but she's not saying anything. She's just kind of like.
He didn't seem surprised when she changed.
Valk leans over and kind of goes, should I just kind of gesturing at disguise.
She's just watching you. Her fingers are kind of steepled. She's just apparently waiting.
Do you?
We are just here for a casual conversation.
Directions, maybe.
She looks towards you, Lish. You know my mother. Is she doing well?
When was the last time I saw her mother? I wouldn't.
Been a little while.
Yeah.
Snow hags tend to not be very social.
Yeah, and I don't reckon that many hags come to court very often.
No.
Yeah.
They come to court if they wish to observe or if they wish to trade.
Right. Or if some bad juju is in the air. Yeah. Lish just kind of looks at her and is like, I believe you may have seen her more recently than I. So, time has been strange. That could not be the case.
I have noticed.
Have you?
I'm strange. There are those here who seem to be at different points in their lives than previously expected.
And has yours changed from previously expected? Because ours certainly
have noticed. I've simply just been here, observing, watching, trading with the humans around.
You have quite the collection.
Some of these things are from my mother. Some of these things are things that I made. I like to collect things, you see. I like to make things.
How long ago did you meet with Poet, the tiefling?
I would say probably a year and a half.
Does that line up with what we know? How long have we been out searching? How long has Levey been out searching? Just a couple weeks?
Levey is missing time between when she left home and when she met the Roses because she was having a time.
So probably like a couple months would be an estimate.
The months that she's been with the Roses and then probably a bit more.
Yeah. So probably like half a year at this point, at least for Levey, if not more.
Yeah.
Because we've only been on the road together like 2.5 months, maybe 3. Like, it's not been that much.
Right. And Levey's gonna kind of rub her face and go, that's a little bit too long on our timeline.
That's a bit interesting. How funny.
What kind of advice was given and received by Poet? He was searching for answers.
I know exactly what he was searching for. He was looking for a way to the plane of dreams.
We know that.
I told him that I don't know a way there myself. But Lady Helma passed through town a while back, and I directed him towards her.
What direction was she headed?
I do believe that she was headed more towards Ayera. Now, though, last time I spoke to her, she was closer to the capital.
Back and forth and back and forth.
She travels, you see. She reads fortunes. She's been apparently recently joined by a new daughter. Adopted, of course.
Reads fortunes?
She does all sorts of things.
What does she look like?
That depends.
Well,
Nods.
I did have a little bit of a sneaking suspicion now about this fortune teller that we were at the festival, y'all, being a bit authentic for a festival.
That
maybe,
but that fortune teller didn't seem to have any family that we could see around.
No, you would have been able to tell. You know her usual disguises.
Yeah, Lish kind of shakes his head.
Okay. Then she's just really good at her job. Okay.
You are a sorcerer, aren't you?
That I am?
Why don't you show me something new?
New.
Something impressive. I'm a sorcerer myself. I can do a little bit of magic. I'm curious how your magic is different from mine.
Oh, well, the source is probably quite a bit different. How about a little bit of curious information for you? Because anything that would be quite impressive to show you might set your lovely home on fire, and I am not in that kind of business.
I have something I can offer.
You are not the one doing the trade, but I
Yeah, Lish looks at Volk like, don't offer things.
I'm interested to see.
Just a little bit of curious information for some information.
Very well.
Much as your powers likely came from your own bloodline, you probably know well that my family is largely pretty normal, run-of-the-mill folk for this area. Not terribly interesting, aside from my cousin and I. Would you like a little piece of gossip? A little scandal for you.
I seem to have piqued her interest.
For information, of course, right?
Yes, for information. Useful information as to how to find my dear cousin.
I also have a question, if I may. Once you have asked yours.
Yes. Well, you see, as very typical for the area as my parents are. They did nearly have their eldest, myself, out of wedlock. You see, a little scandal for you. And my powers actually come from the glade just that way.
In what way?
You see, much like my dear tiefling cousin, I am not exactly human.
I could tell that much.
Yes, well, my non-human origins come from the glade, as you see. The scandal not just being the almost having me out of wedlock, but they did sneak away to fool around a little bit in the glade of all places. Rather romantic, isn't it?
I've always thought that so. They would not be the first to sneak away, though I haven't gone there myself.
Right, well, offered you a little information about me. How about a little information about my dear poet?
As I said, I directed him towards Lady Alselma. She is making her way to Avatix. Last time I checked, I have a friendly relationship with her via my mother. My mother, you see, can't always be here on this plane, but this, more or less, is Alselma's home. And as they are friendly, she keeps an eye on me, and I keep an eye on her. I don't trust her, nor does she trust me. She is joined by her now 2 daughters, and she knows of a place that you can get to the plane of dreams while remaining wakeful.
Right. Well, thank you very much. It's very helpful. I thank you for your reasonable trade with me.
She looks towards you now, Lish, as you had said you had a question.
Lish kind of scoops up Bright Mellow onto the back of his hand, who mildly protests not being dragged away from the cream. But Bright Mellow kind of distracts him a little bit as he considers and says, "We've been noticing a potential exodus of extraplanar beings. I am curious if you have seen or heard of creatures that have been leaving, fleeing."
I have, actually. Last time I was able to speak to Alselma, I asked her if she would send me back to the Feywild. I don't remember it there, of course, but I assumed it would be safer than around here. She said she was not able to do that without my mother's permission. And so I stay here and I watch as humans age or regress.
She would have needed her mother's permission just as a daughter needing permission, basically, right? Not as anything else. Did she specify why she wouldn't be able to reach your mother for permission?
I'm under the impression that everything we see here is dying in a way, falling apart. And it's becoming much more difficult to go back home. I think many creatures are leaving, because they know that there's a possibility they won't be able to go home at all. Those that can leave, at least.
They've been able to successfully leave that you've seen.
Some of the more powerful ones, smaller beings like dryads and nymphs, the occasional pixie, have not been able to go back on their own.
And what is your theory as to what's killing the world?
I'm sure I wouldn't know. I'm mostly just interested in watching it happen if I cannot return home myself.
And have you heard news from home?
I don't remember home.
You don't need to remember to hear.
As I said, things have been strangely silent, strangely quiet from my mother. Lady Helma does not tell me things that I don't need to know. And I do not go into bargains with her.
You're very wise.
I do my best.
Well, one would hope that she is safe, with the conditions being what they currently are.
I suspect that regardless of what politics are going on in the Feywild, whatever's going on here will eventually spread out. Planes are already leaking after all.
Can I do an insight check on her not knowing anything from the Feywild, not having gotten any information about the status of things there?
Roll an insight check.
Nice. 25.
25. She seems very genuine. You do know that Adelwis, when she decides to have children, she trains them for a while and then just sort of drops them back on the material plane. She does not remember the Feywild, and she suspects she was born there and forgot her childhood, but it doesn't really seem to bother her in any way. She is comfortable with her existence.
Right. That's fine. I might suggest, if you have the means, to try and make contact with your mother. For safekeeping.
I can make contact with Lady Helma if you wish. But I need something in return. That's how it goes. That is why I'm comfortable here in this town. None of that silly gold or anything. People trade.
Well, we do have our own means of finding her, I suppose. Kind of looks to Demir.
What sort of trade would you want? Just out of curiosity.
I shared information with you. I wish for information in return. Whatever you have. I'm not picky.
Demir kind of looks over at Lish, like, we might have some insight into what is happening in the Feywild.
Now that would interest me very much.
Perhaps if you were to contact Esthelma for us and acquire her exact location, it would be worth this information.
She considers that and nods and moves over to a silver mirror hanging up hanging up on the wall above the bed. She taps it and waves a hand, and you guys can see her own reflection shimmer, and then an older woman with prominent cheekbones appear. She's standing over a cooking fire, pouring something from the cauldron via a ladle into a wooden bowl. You can't make out much of her background, although you can hear two feminine voices talking to one another, one higher pitched than the other. And the longer you look at this woman, the more otherworldly she seems. Her long white hair hangs kind of in clumps down in her face, and her somewhat elvish features are strange and exaggerated, betraying her fey nature, and her skin even takes a greenish tint in the firelight. Her body is kind of curved backwards in an S formation, where her torso kind of pulls back like a serpent as she hunches over. Her shoulders slouch forward, and her head emerging from the shoulders in the center with a heavy hunch. And her arms are a little long. And as she finishes pouring what seems to be soup into the bowl, looks up and places it down. Well, I did not realize I was going to have a guest this evening.
And Narissa says,
well, I did not realize I was going to be calling upon you so soon. I have a couple of people here who might be interested in meeting up with you. Can you tell me whereabouts in the country you are?
And Alhelma considers and says,
You've called at the right time. I am planning on returning back home soon. I am on the outskirts of Avatix. I wished to see what was happening in terms of the changes, visit a few contacts. But I suppose that I can stay for a little bit longer if there are people who wish to meet.
does anyone say anything? Or are you
I mean, do we get the impression that we can, or is this a one-person situation.
So one person situation, but you guys are all crammed in a tiny room together. So I thought I'd give you an option.
Yeah, I mean, Lish looks at her and just not as Thelma, but Narissa kind of nods.
May I ask who these guests I can be expecting are?
Narissa kind of glances back at you guys.
Can I tell her who she should be expecting?
Our group is called the Wild Roses.
Very well. They are apparently called the Wild Roses. There's 7 of them with me at the moment, plus a kobold for some reason.
Oh, don't worry about him.
They do seem to have some connection to home. So I think you might be interested in meeting them.
And as Helma says,
Well, I suppose I would be intrigued. Perhaps we could make a deal of some sort.
and although she is not, you know that she cannot see you. You can get the impression that she is addressing you all directly.
Find me outside of Avitix towards the northern gate. I will see you soon.
And with that, the scene shimmers and Narissa's blue reflection returns.
So everybody's seen her, which is
Yes.
good. Makes it a bit easier for Demir to scry if she needs to in the future.
Yeah. Demir was definitely paying very close attention.
She's fucking creepy, but like, yeah.
So are we.
It's fine. Levey's gonna nod, kind of do a nod, sort of bow to Narissa. Thank you kindly, Miss Narissa, for your help. It's very appreciated.
I am prepared to live out the rest of my days in the eye of the storm here. However, if you do find a way to send me back to the Feywild, I would be most appreciative.
Well, with your help here and perhaps your mother's permission when we get on the other side, we can make some kind of arrangement. But I don't believe that you've heard that the Winter Court is currently in the midst of quite a snowstorm.
There was a coup.
Interesting.
By whom?
A new queen sits upon the winter throne, although I do not expect she will stay there for long.
No, there's something larger at play. If these plane and time conundrums or anything to say?
We're doing our best to get to the bottom of everything and see if we can't get things back in order some way, somehow.
I'm most interested to see how this plays out.
Us too. If we're all done here, she'll kind of look around to the group. If we're all done here, we won't trouble you anymore. You've been lovely. Your home is very cozy. I like you.
Teeth and all.
I will be doing my best to keep track of your progress. I'm very interested to see how this plays out.
If you hear anything more about anything we've discussed, let us know. It could mean the difference
I'll
between...
do what I can.
It may mean the difference between this world falling apart or not.
Interesting. I'll do what I can. I don't have the ability to reach across to long distances, but
You're very clever. I'm sure you can find a way.
And she moves back towards her front door and opens it and waves you guys through.
Lish is going to head out last, and he's going to rummage through his bag, and he is going to take out the pouch that he found on the body up in the northern lands that has teeth in it. It has, I think, just baby teeth from that person. And nothing else is in there because I've used the wildflowers to grow plant seeds already, but he'll kind of hold them out for her to take and say, a gift.
deeply appreciated. I can add them to my collection.
Levey will similarly pause with Lish in the doorway and offer a pressed flower from the glade.
Appreciate it. I can probably make something interesting with this.
Hold on.
As soon as the door closes and they're like a good distance from the house itself, Levey's got her fucking hands in her hair and she's kind of pacing ahead of everybody and muttering under her breath about dumb fucking tieflings making goddamn deals with fucking hags to go to different goddamn planes in the middle of shit unraveling, and dear God, why?
Demir is going to look over at Lish and like kind of just like tilting her head like, did I was that okay?
I mean, he didn't speak out against it. Said, you both did well and made no promises you could not deliver.
And then, like, that only seems to make Levey more agitated because now she's muttering about stupid fucking tieflings who probably don't know how to deal with the Fae and probably making horrible deals, and God fucking damn it, what did he get himself into?
It does not seem like he made any promises that were of any massive significance. It doesn't seem...
Well, she didn't exactly give us a whole lot to go off of now, did she? We don't know anything.
Her interests do not seem to lie in that of the soul.
Well, not ours.
Petty gossip.
I don't know hags, and I don't know what deals he made with her, and
at the very least, we have a direction we can go in now.
Valkyria, perhaps you should know, since obviously we are dealing with Fae. Be very careful how you speak to them. Do
Yes,
not
ma'am.
thank them.
Be thankful that you're learning before you have to learn the hard way. And Hawks just sort of like taps his own head twice, like, I had to.
To be fair, Hawk already knew before he did it anyways.
I did not.
Tobias will list the actual rules for Valk, like the general rule of thumbs, rather than just leaving it fucking vague.
Levey will procure.
Do not thank them. Do not give an offer unless it's in exchange for something. Do not give your name. Do not indicate that you are giving them something for free or that you are indebted to them in any way.
Alicia's just gonna kind of like, he's like not super paying attention while this conversation goes on, and he's just like, he's talking to Bright Mellow and the others, just like, oh, she was like really nice and she gave you cream. It's like, somebody in this fucking town knows how to be hospitable, you know.
Levey will give Valk the first chapter she transcribed from that Fae book and just go, look,
All
it's
right,
the survival
I'll send
guide.
that over. Hold on.
Yeah. Here you go. Have the
Some more of the crash course for us. Let's go.
Fucked up by
Reading
the Fae.
material.
I need that back because when we find Poet, I might have to smack him with that.
By the way, I'm just noting that it's the second chapter with the rules for interacting for the Fae.
Oh shit. Yep. Okay. Second chapter.
That one instead?
Yes. Whatever chapter gives the crash course on not getting your shit fucked up by the Fae.
Okay. There we go. Boop.
Also, what time of day is it now?
It's getting to be like evening, early evening.
Do we wish to head out in the morning? Or should we get on the road as soon as possible?
I will need rest.
Morning would be probably wisest. I don't know where y'all want to stay.
Well, perhaps there's something in town.
Yeah, my
There's like a
sister mentioned that
small-
inn. The White Owl Inn?
Just double checking. Yes, the White Owl Inn.
I remembered.
Perhaps it would be interesting to spend the night in the grove.
Perhaps.
I figured y'all would want to sleep in beds, but I wouldn't be opposed. I miss my grove.
I'm curious about it as well.
If anything, I'm a little cautious. It wouldn't be the first time I've slept in the forest. You know, all know that for sure. But if this grove is sort of, magical, if things happen when people stay the night there, I'm wondering if it would be a good idea for us to do the same.
Levey's probably done that before, right?
Oh yeah, you've definitely spent the night there before. You and poet like tried to catch the fireflies and stuff. It was nice.
I practically grew up in that grove, Hawk. It's pretty safe.
I'll take your word on it then.
If something were to happen, perhaps it would drive us closer to an understanding.
Hopefully. I mean, half of my soul is from it anyway, so we'd probably be the safest folk there. Yeah, hi, Volk. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm not human.
Are any of us human?
I think Demir is.
Tobias is also human.
I think I'm still human.
Crunchwrap Supreme is the most human of us all.
Oh my
Trap
god.
Supreme is truly just a think piece on the human condition. Oh, Kitty.
This is
Yeah.
how I imagine Volk holding Crunchwrap, by the way, just like under the armpit, you know?
Probably just wriggling constantly, trying to break free. I would imagine.
Or like, you know how
Gnawing
you can
on
put
armor.
those harnesses on dogs and they've got like the handle on top, you can just lunchbox them.
You can get
Something like that. So are we bunking down in the grove, y'all? We roughing it in the pretty nature spot.
From the sound of it, yeah.
Just clean up your wrappers afterward, you filthy animals.
Oh god.
No
Yeah,
glitter.
leave no trace, you fucks.
If you dump glitter into the pool, Levy's going to disembowel you. Barehanded.
Actually, she'll pay Toby to do it barehanded.
Hey.
All right. You guys make your way back to the grove. The fireflies are there. The pool itself is glowing faintly in the moonlight. It's beautiful.
Levy's going for a dip.
All right. Water is cool and refreshing, not at all uncomfortable. What are the rest of y'all doing this evening?
How deep does it go?
It was about 60 feet.
Oh,
Demir
shit.
is joining Levey in the pool. She's gonna go for a swim too.
Fuck yeah.
Look, yeah.
Tobias will
Magic
probably just
pool
sit
time.
on the edge, have his feet in the water, but not go in.
All right.
Levy will probably prop herself on the edge of the pool because it's deep as fuck, but she'll like hang out right next to Toby's knees and kind of rest her head against them and unwind. Just kind of good night. I'm gonna start dozing off over here. It's been a day.
Lish will go swim. He'll see how far he can get to the bottom.
Yeah, you get to the bottom and well, actually, how long can you hold you? What's your constitution modifier?
It is +2.
+2. So you can hold your breath for 2 minutes. That should be enough to.
He can always polymorph too if he needs to.
Yeah. Should be enough to get to the bottom. The crystals down there are very beautiful. They shimmer in the light of the moon, which somehow reaches this deep. They don't seem to be magical in nature, but they're just very pretty.
Yeah, Lish will cast detect magic down there.
Yeah. I mean, there's that same abjuration, conjuration magic that you saw before, but that's permeating everything in this area. But
if Demir dives down, can she try and get a crystal, or are they all pretty solid?
I'll tell you what, roll an athletics check.
Okay, hold on one sec.
That's the one thing, and then the whole thing is going to swallow us because it's actually a aboleth. The mouth of an aboleth.
Oh my god. Sorry, I got like 4 cocked in a row. That is 19.
19. Okay. Yeah, you're able to get a small chunk of selenite.
Awesome. Bring it up like, eh. Demir is skinny dipping, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I kind of figured.
Oh, so the crystals are actually at the bottom of the pool. They weren't part of the vision.
Yeah.
Cool.
Selenite looks like this, but not like
not in the shape of a knife.
Yeah.
It's shiny and pretty and white.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
Levey is also in a shocking level of comfort, considering she was just repeatedly dead named earlier today. Is also fucking skinny dipping because fuck it.
Yay.
You guys are all very comfortable until all of a sudden giant octopus tentacles wrap around you.
No, I don't like this direction.
Another beholder comes out of the ground.
No hentai in here.
Yeah, please.
Levey does have the girdle though.
No, she's just straight skinny dipping. It's dicks out, I guess.
Dicks out, tits out.
Dicks out for Harambe.
Fucking right. Because it's the roses, and well, she trusts them. And when Demir and Lish come back from their fucking dive into the abyss, Levey's kind of like, I kind of want to go see if my aunt and uncle have any of Poet's things still. Before we leave. I said I was going to say goodbye to my ma and Gracie before we left too. I want to call it a morbid curiosity. I want to see if they still have his things and if maybe I can snag them from them.
Would you like for me to go with you?
Please.
Would you like a giant octopus to go with you?
Is that an actual fucking question that Lish just asked?
You can't speak octopus, so.
He is legitimately an octopus. Jesus.
I mean, I could. I don't have to be. I think it's funny.
Okay, Christ. It would be hilarious.
Yeah. None of y'all are going around an attempted murderer without me.
Right. Which, by the way, Vog, on that note, how do you feel about us being in the place where I was almost murdered for the night? out of curiosity. I'm fine with it.
It's not the place that's the problem, correct?
Nah. I love this place.
Then
It's lovely.
Then if it didn't affect your opinion of it, then it is just a place.
Okay.
You don't seem to be any less cheery about it, Huck pipes up from continuing to try and carve that mask. He's found a spot against a tree.
All right. Roll a dexterity check.
All right.
Also, Lish, you should be able to move your token.
Octopus of the Glade. They still tell tales of it to this day. 18, by the way.
18. It's not bad. It's coming along. Not quite finished yet, but it's going. It's more mask shaped.
Hawk sort of like looks over it and then just sort of like.
Are you
nods.
on land now? What's happening?
He's crawling.
Octopi can hold their breath for I think it's an hour, so I can go wherever I want.
They are pretty
All I'm
neat
hearing
creatures,
is the
to
wet
be fair.
slap, slap, slap of the fucking like tentacles
Just
as
like-
he walks around.
Cephalopod dragging itself around. God.
Hey,
Pacific
Hawk sort of
Northwest tree octopus.
hey, Avery, tree octopuses.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
New stat blocked monster. Anyway,
Bitch, I've already made stats for a tree octopus.
Hell
Come
yeah, I
at
didn't
me,
know
bro.
That's
I
by
didn't know
default.
that. Anyway, yeah, Huck sort of like looks over his work. Is like, this might be done within a day or two.
Aaron's also pulled off to the side, drawing his hand at landscape painting, and seeing if he can capture anything of the grove.
Roll a performance check. And I assume you're using the regular paints.
Yes. Yes, good to specify. Oh, that could have been worse. 14.
14. You get the gist. It's the painting itself, there are a few beginner mistakes, but like that's how it goes. You can definitely tell like that you are painting the glade.
Yes. Excellent. And then when fucking Lish crawls out of the lake as an octopus, Aaron's gonna use his speak with animals and just be like, what on earth are you doing?
Lish will pose for his art.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
Hate me.
Yeah,
Roll another
Aaron's-
performance. All right, roll another performance check if you want to add Lish to the painting.
Yeah,
Hate me
Aaron
like
just
one of your face cephalopods.
Paint me like one
Aaron
of your
just rolls
French
his eyes.
octopuses. Octopi.
and starts painting Lish. That's another 14.
Yeah, I mean, it looks out of place because it's an octopus, but like, at least it's in the same art style.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
It doesn't look like you photoshopped an octopus in.
At least not poorly.
True.
Oh, and I did want to say real quick on the note that my dear aunt and uncle don't really talk to Ma and Grace anymore. Y'all can be a little rude if you want when we go to see her.
Excellent.
I might get a little wordy myself. Little flagrant wordy.
This'll be fun.
Oh, it'll be a blast.
I'll leave that to people who would actually know what they're doing.
Permission to release Crunchy.
Sniv, if you don't steal at least 3 things from that woman, I will be deeply disappointed.
You telling that to Sniv?
Yes.
He's been kind of like off to the side, like trying to break rocks open this whole time to see if there are more geodes.
I love this.
But he kind of like pauses and looks up when
My aunt,
when you address him.
my aunt Sniv, we're gonna go see her to see if she has any of my cousin's stuff. You can steal from her a little bit if you want.
Can I burn her house down?
No. You just don't have to be like people polite. No arson, no
You were
violence.
trying to be polite before. But those other people today.
Sniv, you are near and dear to my heart.
She kind of just shrugs and goes back to like trying to hit the rocks to break them open.
Yes, that was the Southern. God bless you. Like bless
your heart. Oh man.
Bless your little evil heart.
All right. Does anyone do anything else this evening?
I mean, Lish will eventually settle down.
All right.
Bulk is reading book, doing homework.
Okay.
Maybe we'll probably set herself up in a little pile in the middle of everybody.
All right. So those of you who are capable of dreaming, you do have dreams in the evening. As you rest, they're way more vivid than usual, but there's nothing really weird about them beyond that. As morning comes to you all, what are you guys doing?
Should we go into town or should we away? We wanted to check in with your aunt.
Is there anything any of you need from town? Do we want to pick up maybe some rations? Or
rations might be good.
I mean, we could always stop through another place before we actually head off to see if we can even go gay into the Plane of Dreams. So.
Rations would be a good idea.
I've been doing some cooking.
I'd like to go to town. Why not?
Sure.
She said that there was a lot of different timey-wimey stuff going on. Might as well see if it affects us oddly.
Or and Demir, you can get some ingredients for your cooking.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
So where to first?
Probably wherever we can get rations.
Okay. I assume you start making your way towards the Garden Plaza, which is the center square of Blemix. Levey, you do know that this is where many farmers will meet up to trade goods in a like gentleman's agreement sort of way. When gold does pass hands, it's usually like through the leaders of town or the occasional person passing through. This town is mostly focused on like the barter system. There's a couple places of note here. There's a little flower stand with a sign, a hand-painted sign on it that says Lynette's Flowers. And it's run by a human woman in her 30s. There's the Great Hall, which is a spacious longhouse-like building, where it's also where there is an office for the chairman and the ergonomist from the Capitol, where they help run things. But otherwise, there are people here and there who are trying to sell just sell things, trade. Like you see a farmer pass a trade like a sack of flour for like a few eggs. It's pretty easy. Do you guys are you more interested in the exchange of gold, or are you more interested in trading things away?
Levey's actually very interested in that flower stand. She will actually ask Toby if he wouldn't mind grabbing her some rations while she makes a quick pit stop, and she looks a little bit mischievous, like she's got terrible evil plans involving flowers.
Yeah, Tobias can pick up rations for her.
He will receive a kiss on the cheek for being such a fine gentleman.
Okay.
Levey has to get a step ladder out in order to do that.
She can just pull him down.
Grab pull.
So for buying rations, it's 5 silver pieces for 1 day of rations, and you can just get however many you can afford if you want.
Levey will slip Toby like 3 gold pieces. So kind of almost a week of rations. 6 days.
Okay.
Is there any place selling bread or beef?
There are people trading those things, yeah.
Then I wish to go bother someone.
Okay. Are you, once again, are you trading or are you buying?
Oh, Valk's trying to fit in and be social. She's trading.
Okay. Well, what do you trade for? Let's see. There's someone who has some jerky, if you want. There's also another person who has minced pork. There's also boar tenderloin.
The place with the tenderloin, Valk walks up and goes, hi. I see it's customary to do trade in this town. So at which point she's like rummaging through her bag and just pulls out an iron ingot and goes, thunk. How much can I get for this?
Well, I can get you a couple of servings of boar if you wanted.
Yes, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Passes you like 3 servings of boar tenderloin.
Sorry, just saw the chat. Thank you so very much. Is there someone selling bread nearby or trading bread nearby?
You could probably ask around for a loaf of bread. What kind of are you looking for?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the area. Is there anything a local style that's particularly good?
Well, most of the breads around here that isn't sent to
elsewhere in the country, we usually have raw bread.
Oh, I would love to try that.
Demir actually when she hears Valk talking about bread, like her attention peaks and she kind of joins that not like joining the conversation, but she like comes up behind Valk and is like interested.
You could probably ask Samuel over there. He sells and makes bread a lot.
Thank you so much for your help, and this boar looks absolutely delicious.
Well, found the thing trying to eat some of my crops, and I had to put it down myself.
Very brave of you. So condescending. She doesn't know how to interact with normal people.
I mean, boars will fuck you up. Like, wild hogs, they're fucking feral.
Well, I know that. All Valk interacts with is adventurers and religious people.
Demir is going to go over to the person who was the bread baker and we heard you had bread?
Yeah, I got some bread here. What kind are you looking for?
What do you have?
He has a variety of different kinds of breads. Some of them seem fresher than others. It's clear that he has come here to the market with the for the intent of trading the bread for more supplies to make bread.
Yeah. Demir, she's just going to pick out like what is most interesting and unique to her, and she'll offer to trade one of her own loaves, like loaf for loaf.
Yeah, that'll work for me.
This is marhabi bread.
I've never been there, but I'll take your word for it.
It's very far away.
I've lived here my whole life.
But yeah, trades the bread pretty easily. You get a loaf of rye bread.
Yeah. And then she's going to kind of buy whatever like other supplies that she needs to keep the party fed. Relatively fresh.
Cool. We'll just call it a gold piece, I guess, for supplies.
Valk also pulls out another iron ingot and it's just like, bread, please.
Okay. What? I can get you a few loaves for this.
Thank you very much. Can I have a mix of things? I'm looking to experiment.
Yeah, you get a loaf of rye bread, a loaf of sourdough, and a loaf of French bread.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to trying these.
Of course.
At which point, Valk just kind of wanders off, completely oblivious.
You as you wander off, like if anyone happens to glance Samuel's way, he's like looking at the iron ingot in his hand, like, what the fuck do I do with this?
I picked it up from our last adventure together. So
So he's confused, but it's fine. Anyone else?
Levey did go off to the flower stand.
Yeah. So the woman running the flower stand is of course human. She seems to be in her mid-30s. She's got kind of reddish hair pulled back into a bun, but there are a few loose strands. And she smiles at you as you approach. Look, hey there, you looking for some flowers?
Sorry. Oh yes, I was actually you see, I travel a lot, and I was wondering if maybe I could trade perhaps a page or two of some flowers that don't come from around here. I pressed the flowers and everything, and I wrote down what I could learn about it.
Yeah, I think I'd be amenable to that. What kind of flowers are they?
I guess she'll pull out like some flowers that she's maybe picked from like kind of closer to the tundra where like the vegetation started petering out, and then like maybe the forest that the Oak Father's children were in, and stuff from the house in Royas. Like maybe a couple from each spot.
Oh, these flowers are lovely. Yeah, I'm very interested in that. What sort of flowers are you interested in having, dear?
I was wondering if maybe you had some baby's breath and some periwinkles, maybe, and I'm thinking some daisies and some forget-me-nots, and maybe just one rose, maybe a pink rose.
All right, let me see if I can put together a bouquet for you.
Thank you.
And she,
my sister just had a baby recently. I wanted to give her a little something.
Yeah, and she starts putting together the bouquet, wraps it in paper, and ties a ribbon around the end before holding it out to you.
This is lovely. Thank you so much. I hope that maybe, if somebody comes through selling their own flowers from out there, you can know what you're looking for now.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
People don't come through here too often, unfortunately, but maybe that'll be interesting to someone. At the very least, it's interesting to me.
Well, I'm glad it'll be of any interest or use to you at all. You take care now.
You too, dear.
Thank you. She'll go off to find everybody else.
All right. The group reconvenes. They're in the garden plaza. Does anyone have any lingering things they wish to do here?
Not necessarily here, but like kind of as we're heading out, Demir is going to like walk up to Levey and kind of hook her arm in hers, and like in a low voice, just, if it would help make a point, I wouldn't mind if you properly introduced myself and certainly Lish to your aunt and uncle, if it would make a point.
Demir, are you asking me to give you an opportunity to throw your weight around?
I'm just saying.
I want to see the look on her face. I want to see the look on her face. Only if Lish is all right with that.
Demir is going to glance over at Lish,
who is not paying attention. If he heard anything, he doesn't seem to be bothered by it.
Well, myself at least.
You're cutting out a little bit. I can't understand what you're saying. Sorry.
Myself at least.
Well, let's deliver this, and she'll hold up her bouquet of baby's breath and periwinkles or forget-me-nots and the singular pink rose in the middle. I want to deliver this to my sister and wish her and Ma well while we're gone. And then we'll stop by and hopefully that'll give me a chance to check in with Lish and all of that on that one. I don't want to overstep my bounds. Lovely idea. I like it. She's evil now. She's full of piss and malice.
Demir just kind of smiles and, still holding Levey's arm, is going to walk with her.
Demir is a terrible influence. Let's fucking go.
Best influence, more like. On the way back, you guys kind of catch Lish kind of looking at the different farm signs carefully.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are we going back to the family's house or the aunt and uncle's house?
We have to drop off this baby bouquet to the baby.
The baby bouquet.
Okay, because Falk would not be getting left behind for the aunt and uncle trip.
Mm-mm.
Nah. Nobody's getting left behind for that.
I figured you guys were all there together.
Yeah.
So you start making your way back towards Levey's childhood home. You Lish, do find what you're looking for along the way.
Yeah. Lish will kind of hesitate when you come across one of your neighbor's farms, and he kind of like looks at Levey thoughtfully and is kind of like, how well do you know the Gilroys?
Okay. I forgot I was muted. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, I was isolated a lot as a kid, so I mean, but they'd come over sometimes to visit. Why?
Grace would babysit sometimes.
Lish kind of seems fond at that, and kind of tucks his head a little bit, says with a bit of a smile, do you think that they're home?
I mean, probably. What are you up to?
Would you mind a detour? And he'll kind of step off the road towards the farm.
I mean, I guess not. She's so confused. She's looking
Demir
at Debbie and she's looking at Toby like, what? Do you know what the fuck is going on here?
Demir is just as confused, but like she just starts leading towards where Lish is going.
Lish will be just like, you don't have to come. You can continue on. I just want to pay a little house visit.
I want to come.
No, I'm coming. You're paying a house visit to my childhood neighbors? I'm coming for that. Lish!
And yeah, he'll just trot.
And with that, that's where we'll call session.
What the fuck, Richard?
hell?
You funky Fey man, what are you up to?
What is he doing?
Womp womp.
We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Well,
It's gonna be
been a
Dragon
whole
Ball Z.
week.
We're gonna go fucking bonkers on Levey's aunt.
Yes, we're gonna go ham on her.
Fucking
Giant
hell.
octopus.
well. What? Thank you guys for playing.
Thank you for
Thank
absolutely
you.
murdering my fucking emotions first thing in the morning. Love it.
Oh my god.
I
Oh,
had
you're awake
to
now.
pluck so many southern accents today.
Ain't no thing.
Ain't no thing, chicken wing. Man, chicken wing sound
yeah,
good.
thanks for playing, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
DMing.
Woo!
We'll play more next week, I believe. Wait,
We'll figure it out.
next
We didn't
week
actually.
Next week is
Next
off.
week is.
Oh yeah.
next week
We'll
is Ren first. So we'll figure out sometime
We'll
some
figure it out.
night.
It's like the next 3 weeks are fucked a little bit,
Yeah.
so
We'll figure out.
That's a
figure
little
it
fucky.
Yeah,
That's okay.
We'll figure it out. It's all good.
We shall.
We
All
should
right.
get a when to meet going to try and like find a
Yeah.
time because I will not wait 3 weeks